What are you looking for? Where will your heart's desire take you?
Let's go!
Hello and welcome to another JJ Starwind Corner episode 69. And this will be a first of two videos I will do regarding anime. So as I made on my channel update, I decided I was going to come up with two topics to bring back the corner episode series. So here's the first one. So this is a list that I compiled, and I'm not going to elaborate too long. Try to keep this under 10 minutes if possible, of animes that deserve sequels. So these are anime shows that I've watched throughout the course of my life, and I felt like these shows were so good that they deserved a second season, but they never got it. And that can be due to various factors, such as the producer getting too old, or maybe the company that the show was produced ran out of money and it went out of business, as the case for some of these animes I'm about to list. Others could be the producers that made the anime. They went ahead and, of course, they did other projects as well. So they didn't have time to come up with another sequel to the show. So, all in all, let's get started. I should have up to, let's see, let me count right quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's up to 12. And this is in no particular order. So obviously, seeing that I called myself Starwind after my favorite anime character, Gene Starwind, obviously the first anime on the list is going to be Outlaw Star. This was made back in the late 90s. For those that have been alive long enough, you remember Toonami. That was one of the early shows to come out of Toonami. And of course, since all that time, there was never another sequel for that. Of course, hardcore Outlaw Star fans have been bitching and moaning about having another sequel for years. To this day, we're still wanting like more adventures of Gene Starwind, Jim Hawkin, and of course the ladies Melfina, Suzuka, and Aisha Clan. We're still waiting for more episodes to this day. So that's Outlaw Star. Now a shout out to this producer, Shinichino Watanabe. I hope I said his name right. So he created the following animes I'm about to name next: Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, that's my email, and Michiko and Hatchin. Okay, so those three in no particular order. He was behind the production or the direction of those shows, and of course I guess they were made to be one shots, like they weren't going to keep going with it and stuff like that. But the stories were so good, and like the episodes are so well made and well paced. It's like you couldn't help but be immersed in the show by any means. I felt like those particular shows, it was something for everybody that was into anime, whether he was into action, whether he was into drama, suspense, or fighting, or even crime. Like it encompassed all that. All three of these shows that I've mentioned, it encompasses every simple facet of those genres. So I feel like those deserve sequels, but I guess because of how the style of Watanabe's works is, the story kind of ended in one shots. The only one that I think that definitely could have kept going was Samurai Champloo, because all three of the characters survived they all got to live on. And of course, Cowboy Bebop was the main character in that show. We don't know his stats at all, whether he was dead or alive. And then Michiko and Hatchin, basically, the girl in that show, she grew up and she became a mom, and she became, I guess, a single mom at that, because we don't even know who the father is. And as far as the other woman, Michiko, she's back doing her thing as being a a crime boss, basically. A baddie. So yeah, those are those shows. So let's move on. Gangster. Now this anime or manga, I collected just about every volume that I could think of that came out. And there was an anime for this manga, Gangster, made by Kosuke. So I watched it, and it was pretty dope when I saw it. I mean, it wasn't as intense as the manga was, of course, but it was still good. And it ended on a cliffhanger, even though I already know what was going to happen next after the cliffhanger. But, like, it ended on that note. And then what happened, the studio shut down. I forget the exact name of the studio. Was it Madhouse? I think it was called Madhouse. They ended up shutting down. So that was one of the major reasons why we never got to see another season of this show. And I felt like if there was another studio that could pick up this manga, they could probably pick back where it left off, and it could continue on and things like that. But the manga is pretty much under limbo now, so I have no idea what happens next. The author has an illness, a long-time illness of lupus, so I think that's one of the major reasons why it never finished, as far as I know. And I covered this manga years ago. If you guys go way back in my channel, like, I did reviews on this thing, like, maybe about 6 years ago. It was crazy. Like, I was really into the manga at the time, and to see it not finish is rather disappointing. So here's hoping that the anime does come back one day, or maybe continue on at least up until where, you know, the Twilights end up getting, like, into another civil war with the humans and stuff. So it's pretty wild. Okay, the next one is Roku no Yusha. This one came out around the same time as Gangsta in 2015. And this one is more like a crime anime. Not like a crime anime, but mystery anime. Sorry, mystery. So, yeah, if you want to check that one out, that was pretty dope. It was like, they were trying to figure out who the killer was of all these creatures and stuff like that, and things like that. So, like, one of them was going to betray all the others, and they were trying to get ready to fight a demon, like it was like a bunch of demons they had to fight, so they had to form a team. But one of the team members was like he was kind of for the demons, like he or she was for the demons, so it was like a traitor amongst them. So that's what they were trying to figure out, who's the traitor. So if you guys want to check out Roku no Yusha, definitely do that. Gungrave, shout out to Gaming Geek, one of my subs, and I'm subbed to his channel. He told me about Gungrave, and there's a video game series based on this. So as I was playing the video game, it was actually a continuation of what happened after the anime. So while the video game series is still alive, the anime series pretty much ended off where the main character and his antagonist, like his old best friend, pretty much got into it, and then he ended up killing his best friend, unfortunately. So, and then it kind of ended off from there. But yeah, I kind of wish this anime would have got a second season, because clearly there's more to the story than just Brandon Heat and his friend Harry. So yeah, like, and if you guys remember Trigun, the same guy that made Trigun also helped to create the character Gungrave, or Brandon Heat. He created that same. He had features that were similar to Vash the Stampede, is what I'm trying to say. So it's the same guy that made Trigun also made Gungrave. Next one is Kabaneria, the Iron Fortress. This was actually a movie. It was actually a movie series, and it kind of ended off not in a cliffhanger, but it did end off with the main villain dying. But I don't know if that was the end of the actual story. I'm not too sure about that. So I would like to see a little bit more if that the main plot of that story was like it was like a chronic disease that was plaguing the population, and it turned them into zombies, right? It was kind of crazy if you remember the movie. It was pretty wild. So I keep forgetting the characters' names, but like, because this was several years I watched this movie, so like, if you remember seeing it, it was based on like a dystopian future Japan. So basically, the fate of the country was at the stake of the survivors. So if it wasn't for the survivors finding a cure, there was like Japan was pretty much done for with this disease. So that's kind of what the show was about. Okay, a few more animes here. So Darwin's Game, that was a anime series that came out 3 years ago, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I wish that one had a sequel to it. And that was based on a cell phone game. So some kids got trapped into the cell phone game, and if they couldn't survive the game, they ended up losing their life. So it was pretty serious anime. Another one is Algamoys. This one another sub of mine recommended, K-Dub. Shout out to him. And this is based on the Japanese fighting off against the Mongol invasion when the Mongols invaded, back when the days of Genghis Khan, and he had his people like flood all these different lands and conquering them, and Japan ended up being another one of these lands they tried to take, but they never could. And so this anime is based on that, and it kind of ended off in a cliffhanger as well, and it's definitely a lot more to the manga. So I wish there was an anime series, like a second one based on this one. And finally, No Guns Life. No Guns Life is like another futuristic type anime, and the character is pretty cool actually. Even though he has like a gun head, he's pretty cool. His name is Juzo, and he's like a detective basically. And all he pretty much does is solve crimes between his types of people. I forget the name of it exactly, but he's trying to keep them from being like completely ostracized from society, in a sense, from the humans. So it's kind of like if you remember the anime Big O, and I think it was another one. It's another one that kind of escapes him, but it's sort of like that, where they kind of live like in a not necessarily a segregated society, but like a dystopian society, so to speak. And basically that's what Juzo does. He's like a detective. He's trying to help people. He's trying to help his types of people as well as humans, try to coexist amongst one another. So that's kind of like his angle when it comes to living and things like that. So yeah, it kind of ended off. It wasn't necessarily a cliffhanger, but there was definitely more to the story from No Guns Life, I should say. So yeah, that's my list overall. I didn't mean to drag it past 10 minutes, but I ended up doing that. But yeah, so tell me what you guys think about this concept. You guys write down a list of particular animes that you felt like deserved sequels, but they never got them. I went ahead and put my list together. And I'll come back with part 2, and we'll talk about animes that didn't deserve to have sequels, but they end up having sequels anyway. And that might ruffle some feathers. So this is JJ Starwind here. I have to get going, and I'll see you all later.